welcome to Mom Boss Chronicles, the show that celebrates the incredible journey of mom bosses who are conquering the world of business and motherhood. We are your hosts, Jen,
Danielle, and Sue.
Make sure to like and subscribe and share with your mom friends today.
Welcome back. Today we are going to be discussing momming, mom life, with having a mother and not having a mother. So today it's just the three of us. And so Jen and I, have that experience of we are lucky enough to have our mothers with us. Unfortunately, Sue has a different journey, and her mother did pass away. How many years ago?
2017.
Okay, 2017.
Before you even became a mom.
Yeah, like 2 months before I got pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and that's still pretty fresh.
Yep.
I mean, to lose your mother is, I just can't imagine. So, yeah, we just want to kind of discuss that because I think this is a huge, a topic that people probably don't talk about enough too. Yeah. And I think it's just, do you want to kind of
So I feel like for our age, right, it's not common, that people lose a parent. We're still fairly young, and so it's not common. I don't have a lot of friends who are momming without their moms. Although I do have shout out my girl Dana. My mom passed away a couple years ago too. So it's interesting. It's a conundrum in some ways, especially I know mothers and daughters have very interesting and complex relationships, right? So as much as I would call my mom every day and be like, oh my goodness, and I talk to her every single day. She's my best friend. She also drove me to the brink of insanity.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Where I was like, you're fucking crazy. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, now as a parent, you look back at that and you're like, they just have your best intentions, and that's the way they, express it and stuff like that. And so, when my mom passed away, she had been through a lot of stuff and health issues and mental stuff and just a whole host of items, so that when she did pass away, obviously it was a piece of my heart ripped out, but I felt she was at peace too, so that was a nice aspect of it.
Yeah.
A big part of before she passed away, she wasn't really taking care of herself in the way that I had hoped. You want your parents to.
Yeah.
And a big thing I would say to her a lot of times was like, Mom, I need you to be healthy because
how old was she when she passed?
61.
Oh, so she was young.
No, wait, hold on. I'm making that up. 65. I want to 65.
Yeah.
Young.
I think she was just turning 65. Right. Either way, very young.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I was like, listen, I need you to be as healthy as possible because, Mike and I are going to get engaged soon and we're going to have kids, and I need you to be a part of my life to raise children. That's how I was raised.
With your grandparents, right?
I was with my grandparents all the time, mostly my dad's parents, but regardless, my mom's mom, I was with her a lot too. And those were all mainly my fondest memories, of family time. And I'm a family person. So, for me, I would try to express that to her all the time, how much I come on, get your shit together. Let's focus on going out for walks and,
being
stop
healthy.
smoking cigarettes and stuff like that. And so, unfortunately, she did not take heed. And there's a lot. It's, that could be a whole nother episode. But, when she passed away, it was sad, but also peaceful at the same time. So when I got pregnant a couple months later, in my head, I was like, holy shit, this woman works fast up there, And she sent me this baby. And in my head, I'm like, it's totally going to be her reincarnated, so I was anticipating having a daughter. That's what I for sure was like, I'm gonna have a daughter, I'm just gonna be her reincarnated.
Is he like her at all?
No. Michael is my grandfather reincarnated. Actually, one of the first scans I ever had of him in my stomach, I was like, holy shit, it's my grandfather.
That's so funny because I always say he's like a little
he's an old man. He's an old man.
But that came through.
Yes.
That's crazy.
So, not being able to call my mom and be like, oh my God, guess what?
I could feel the baby kick or
all those things. It sucks. And I get to see my friends and other, people that I know and they're sharing all of these experiences with their moms and it's sad, and and then part of me is too I wouldn't say resent is the right word, but my brother, he had mom around to help with his kids,
She was a grandmother to them.
Right.
Yeah.
So that makes me felt a little jealous, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you lost out.
Yeah. She didn't get to experience this little, they would be thick as thieves. You know what I'm saying? And I know through and through, Michael would be obsessed with her and vice versa, you know. So, and then experiencing birth without my mom there was, I had Mike's mom there, my dad's, girlfriend. They came, they were supportive, and that's great. And
But
I'm
nothing like
grateful
your
for it, but it's
mom.
not like your mommy,
I
right?
know.
Exactly.
Where you can cry to your mom, be
right?
vulnerable
And
with
be
your
like,
mom.
like, what is going on
Yes.
here? I mean, I projectile vomited everywhere.
I know.
You
You
know,
just
it's
want
like,
mommy there.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So like just navigating, especially like the first couple months, that are really hard, and you're unsure, and like you're vulnerable to your friends, but not at a level that you're vulnerable to mom. Where
Totally.
you're really like letting it all raw.
And it's just different. Like even I'm 35 and still when I'm sick, I'm like, I love my body.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So, and Michael, the summer that I had him, it turned out to be, it was a year. And like that was the anniversary, 1 year anniversary of my mom's passing. So, it sucked. Like it was like, I'm so happy and I'm so grateful in this one sense. I brought this beautiful life into the world, and I'm missing like one of the most other important lives, But, we adapt.
Yes.
And so you kind of go through it. And I have so many other beautiful mother-like figures in my life that have been, good at offering advice and
Being that grandma figure.
right, exactly. Like even one of my mom's friends, I haven't taken her up on this yet, but she lives close by in Long Branch, and she's like, I would be thrilled to watch Michael. Like I feel like I'd be doing your mom a service, and so there are so many lovely souls out there that because of my mom, and that are still part of my life. So I adapted, but I would say probably the biggest part of when I really missed my mom was when Mike died, and like
Going
that,
through
I was
that.
like shit,
Without
like,
a mom.
I'm independent, but like I just really want my mom, and like being home by myself with a 1-year-old. This is like that was definitely the time where I felt it. And I
During
was like,
COVID and the world's uncertain.
totally, because
Yeah.
she would have been living with us regardless. That was always kind of like the plan I had in my head. Like, and Mike and I had discussed it too. When we buy a house, your mom will move in, and whatever. So that was definitely the time
That's
that I
hard.
really felt it, and I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, like I wish you were here.
You are just like so badass. You've suffered like so much loss that a lot of people haven't. I'm very sorry, of course, but you are like so resilient, and you've really just come out on the other side where I feel like so many people just wouldn't have.
Thank you.
Yeah, you keep picking up the pieces.
Yeah.
Gotta.
And you keep flourishing, which is amazing. So I know that your mom and Mike has got to be so proud of you.
I thank you. I appreciate that, and I feel them up there. You know what I'm saying? I think being in tune. If you're open to it, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy.
I love all your signs.
Yeah, if you're in tune to it, you know that they're there.
Yeah.
They're just you just can't see them, and they're pulling the strings for you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that. It's amazing.
yeah.
I have 2 friends that I'm really close with who have children close in age with my daughter, and they don't have their moms, present all the time. And it's hard, right? Like when I do date night or sleepovers, my kids go to my mom's house a lot.
Oh, that's a huge thing.
Yeah. And I feel for them, because they have to think about it a little creatively or differently. And even just holidays without the grandma or the mom. And my son is obsessed with his Abba, he calls her, abuela. So, like, I feel for anybody who doesn't have that.
Right.
And I love my mom because whenever she sees that, she tries to, like, give those kids and them attention, too.
Right.
And be like, I could be your Abba.
Yeah.
I love that.
So
Yeah.
sweet.
So,
The sweetest.
I mean, growing up, my mother and I did have a complicated relationship. Mothers
Right.
and daughters do have that complicated, and we definitely did. I was her oldest. She was very strict with me. That was really hard for me, and I rebelled a lot.
Yeah.
So I never thought our relationship as an adult would be so beautiful. Isn't that crazy? So it wasn't until I was 18, and maybe I had a little bit more independence, and maybe she stopped trying to fight me and tried to stop trying to control me.
She's like, I surrender.
Yes, I surrender. You make the decisions now. Once that happened and we became really good friends, then I appreciated everything she did.
Yeah,
And I could be vulnerable with her, and I can cry, and she was there when my son was born, and she's the first person I call every day.
Right.
And I don't take that for granted.
Yeah.
Because I see people who go through it without it, and I'm like, I am very fortunate.
Right.
Not only do I have my mom, but I have a good relationship. Because how many people do we know who do have their mom, but maybe they don't have a good relationship?
Yeah. Or like there's something,
Yeah.
that's a little weird.
Yeah.
But
Even distance, right? Even if their mom
Right.
was around, but their mom's so far.
yes.
So I feel people.
You actually hit like something like I feel like a lot of more people out there than not have like very toxic relationships with their parents or their mom in particular, and like they're present in their life, but they had to have like cut them off. Like that's another level of grief in a sense too, of like
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I've always been close with my mom. Like, you're a teenager and whatever, you have your thing, but like we never were like
Super tense.
weird. Like,
yeah, that's
never.
awesome.
I truly don't know what I would do without her. She's like,
Your mom's amazing. She shows up to everything.
yeah, and she's my kids, if they're sick, like, she knows when I go to the doctor. She knows, like, everything. If there's something I didn't tell her, she'll, like, be mad. Oh, you didn't tell me that. Like, because I do tell her everything.
That's awesome.
And I mean, my kids are, obsessed with her and the whole thing. I mean, she was in the room when Dylan was born. So I think they have this special, connection, the two of them.
Yeah.
But it's, I like feel bad, like, even like talking. I don't
but
want
it's
to, like,
so nice
hurt
to hear.
you.
No,
I know what you mean.
trust me, nothing can hurt me.
But it's hard to, like, tell people, like, oh, I'm so lucky to have an amazing mom.
Yeah.
When they don't, right? I know you feel like, damn, am I?
But it's nice to hear that.
But at the same time, now you will, God willing, have that opportunity to do that for Michael and Michael's wife or husband, whatever, and your grandkids, and that
whoever
will
he
be
marries,
amazing.
don't hate me.
They won't hate you.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's like something I think about too, is to have that as, one day will be amazing too, and hopefully be
that
the
grandmother that you're missing out on.
Yeah.
So, like, for you, obviously, since you don't have your mom in your life, do you, I guess, you do have good support, right?
you have an amazing support system, right?
Definitely.
That's awesome.
I'm really lucky. I mean, my in-laws, my sister-in-law, like, she's amazing. She's great. I have Mike's aunts, even though they don't live close by, like, they reach out or,
they give that maternal love.
like something, and like my mom's friends, I'm in contact with them every now and then too.
That's awesome.
Like, it's really sweet. One of her friends, we try to get together for lunch like every now and then. So, it's nice, and it's really nice when I get to see these people, especially from like people from my mom's life, because I get to hear new stories about her. Like, generally more times than not, I end up hearing a new story, and it's so
amazing.
nice that, like, even after this time that she's passed away, I get to still learn new things about her.
Your mother,
right? Because that's like another thing too. Like, as you grow older and wiser in some capacity, you think about, like, questions, or you have questions about, like, your family in the past, and, like, well, what did this person do? And aunts and I'm a history, but, like, I love knowing about what happened in the previous parts of the family, or, like, how did you navigate this when you were my age, or when you were this part of raising a child. Granted, we had different lives, but so, like, those are, like, the stuff I miss out on. But in terms of, like, her meeting up with her friends, it is nice to get a different story or aspect of her life.
Yeah, still feel that connection.
Right.
Yeah. It's funny because I'll ask my mom, I remember my kids were little, like, did I cry all night? And she does remember that. She's like, yeah, you were a bad baby. And I'll ask about other milestones. And it's because it's been so long. A lot of times she's like, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But she's still there to be like, I would help, or I would do this. And I mean, even now my kids are 3 and 7, and I'll still call her if my son's having an issue with crying. And I'm like, what do I do?
Oh my God, same. Yeah.
Right?
She, like, definitely. And I know I've mentioned this before, but my daughter, who's 2.5, she is just, like, she's such a little freshie, that girl. Like,
Test you,
the
she tests you?
attitude on this one. And my mom's like, oh, she's you.
Oh,
she is you.
That's so funny.
But she loves it because she's like, I get to, like, relive like, having you.
Yep.
Like, she's like, she looks like you. She's got your attitude. And I'm like, great. I remember her and my dad telling me the story when I was, like, 2. We would go out to dinner, and when I was done, I would stand up and yell, I'm done. Let's go.
Yep.
And that's my daughter.
Oh my God, Jean's like, it's my world.
It's
my world.
We're all just living in it.
The apple did not fall far from the tree, huh?
Karma.
I love how she, like, tells you, that's you.
Yeah.
You're fighting with a little version of yourself.
I am.
Yeah. That is so funny.
She's fresh. But yeah, it's fun hearing those stories.
Totally. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing to have your mom, but also a beautiful thing is just to have the friendship and connections with people.
Yep.
Because motherhood is tough.
Yep.
And whether it's your mom or a good friend you're going, or aunts or whoever steps in, like, find the support. Even if you don't have your mom, you can't go through it alone.
Yep.
Yeah, it really takes a village.
It does.
Yeah.
There's
It's a hard journey.
Yeah.
for like myself, although I'm like, oh, and pretty much anything in life for a long time, I got this. I can do this by myself.
Yes, right.
I don't need help. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that is so fucking not true. Like,
yeah, and it's not even. It doesn't even come down to like who's gonna watch my kids. Like it's so much more than that.
Who's gonna listen to me cry?
Yeah,
especially as they get older. It's like, all right, when they're young, okay, they're crying and they're throwing temper tantrums to watch TV or whatever. But when they start getting older and there's real problems, and not that you know what I mean by that, but it's hard and you need
the sounding board. Yeah.
No, totally. Sometimes when I hear like mom for like the 70th time in an hour, and I'm like, get the fuck away from me. In my head, I'm like, please go away. In my head, I swear I hear my mom and my mom's voice in my head being like, he's just a kid. He's just a baby, you know? Like, I'm like, he's not a baby anymore.
Yeah, I know. They test you for sure.
Yeah. Mom.
Oh my, mommy, mama,
Mom, look at this.
Yeah.
Mom, look at this that I did. I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah.
All the questions. I called Dylan the Joker. Or the Riddler. The Riddler. Yeah.
Why? Or
yeah. Because I said so.
Yes.
How about that?
Oh my gosh.
But momming's hard, and it's funny because obviously every generation does things a little differently. So it's even funnier to hear from the older generation, like how we were raised, and they definitely have their opinions about the iPads.
Oh yeah.
The older generation of like, obviously you didn't have iPads when I was little, but of course we would never be in a restaurant with an iPad.
Right. No, instead, I remember, like, I think about this. I would go out to dinner with my grandparents and my parents all the time. My grandfather and I would throw bread balls at each other. So, right. So, no, maybe I didn't have an iPad, but we left a mess for, like, wait staff to have to clean up, you know? Like,
or colored on the table.
Yeah. I always said, I will never be that mother that brings an iPad to dinner.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk. I want to have a dinner conversation.
Do you want to hear my kids screaming? Or do you want to
we have the headphones too, so it's like you going off to that corner, listen.
Whatever.
Yeah. But it's funny, even the older generation, right? The way they do moms and it's just funny.
Well, I think about a lot of times too, like I remember when I was little, you know, my mom would have her friends over or whatever for coffee, and like they're all puffing cigarettes,
oh my
right?
God.
Like sitting around, drinking coffee, smoking cigs. And I remember I'd, you know, have my like head on my mom's lap and I'm listening to all of them like, you know, that Bobby's a fucking asshole. Like talking shit about their husbands, puffing cigarettes. Like I'm getting secondhand smoke, but our parents are worried about the iPad.
Right. Yeah. I know. I can't.
So I made it.
I know.
So different.
I know. So obviously I love my mom, but sometimes she'll give me advice. I'm like, that doesn't pertain to this lifetime, this generation. Like you've raised me in a different era.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different stories.
With a grain of salt.
Yeah. But you guys are very lucky, you know, that you have your moms, and I appreciate that. You don't take it for granted, you know, because, you know, it's precious. That's a very precious relationship. Yes. And for your, you know, obviously for you to have your moms with you is amazing, but beyond that, for your kids to have, you know, your moms is like.
I grew up with my grandmother. She would take me away to Puerto Rico in the summers with her. My parents would work.
Cool.
So I grew tight with her. Like she became my second mom. And I love her so much. And like to see my kids go through that, like I want to go to Abba's house and they'll sleep over. I'm like, they just slept over this past weekend at my mom's. And I'm like, did my daughter cry for me? Did she miss me? No. She didn't even know she were gone.
Right.
And a part of me is like, no, but she's supposed to cry for me. But the other part's like, God, but I love that you guys have this bond.
And you know they're in good hands. Like there's not a worry in the world, right?
Yeah.
That's the only like person I can not worry about. Right. My kids be. It's like, all right, they're cool. They're good.
Yeah. So, you know, obviously our hearts go out to anybody who doesn't have their mom figure, but definitely lean on your friends, your support, the, you know, aunts, whoever you have in your life, because you need them. Your kids need them too.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
well, thank you, and tune in next week.